Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another stream. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. So, anywhooser, what we have going on today is really there's going to be a lot of people keeping a close eye on SES and BIMI. I apologize for not being on yesterday. We kind of started late here yesterday, but anyways. So SES and BIMI are going to be the two kind of main stocks that most people are going to be trying to keep their eyes on today. And to be completely honest, I don't personally feel that they're going to be running very well. I think they're actually going to have more of a down day or a day in which you're not going to find it easy to trade them as maybe yesterday. Right? Yesterday, BIMI went on a really good run. SES went on a really nice move. We were watching SES and then BIMI popped up later. But anyways. Moral of the story is, I don't think we're going to be seeing too good of a planet today. We might, it's possible, but this is typically going to be the day where a lot of people are going to sell into it or try and hammer it down, right? So, if we do like a little piece from yesterday, let's take a look at this. So yesterday starts off as a red to green move. Later in the day, it does a wedge break. All the short sellers get squeezed out, and then it kind of tops, right? A lot of times, there's really two scenarios that usually play out in a situation like this. Either it squeezes up in the morning, and it comes back up towards 24, and then it tops out, and then it kind of double tops, and then that will be the top, or it's going to start with a small move in the morning, and then it just kind of crashes. So pretty much either it crashes or it squeezes back up to a double top formation, and then it's normally done on the third day. So again, usually if it's a parabolic stock, you get 1-2 days where the stock really moves, and then the third day is usually the day that it all comes kind of crashing down or unfolding. So, for those of you that are really considering trying to be long and ride it today, I would be very hesitant to that. Yeah, I got a discount code for you to our chat room. I'll put it here in the chat. It should be this. Put it in parentheses. No, I really didn't do much trading yesterday. I kind of got up, started the day later, wasn't really feeling that well. I traded Netflix like 2-3 times. All in all, I ended up losing, I think, like $230 yesterday on Netflix, but I didn't end up trading SES, and I didn't end up trading BIMI. I really didn't do much trading yesterday, to be complete. It's really odd. The one day I kind of picked to not trade and, take the day off early and lay down because I wasn't feeling well. We have two big runners, magically, of course. Yeah, you're always paying for a lesson one way or the other. All right, so anyways, my whole spiel with SES is to really just kind of be careful on it. Same thing with let me go over to BIMI. So BIMI is, it looks decent this morning. I mean, it's been trending pretty well. Normally, I'm not, when a stock goes from like $1 to 13, normally the following day I don't trust it's going to keep running. But, there's also something I should do. I'm going to take a look at something real fast. Something I didn't do yesterday, which would probably be a good idea to do right now. So yeah, looking here at FinViz, it has a short float of about 15%. The float's only about 1 million. That may or may not be off. It's probably off by a bit, but the shares outstanding are 6.69 million. So anyways, whenever we find a stock that has really low outstanding shares, the likelihood of it continuing its run is usually a little bit better. Something like SES. If you go look at SES information, you'll find that it really doesn't have any shares outstanding. So a lot of times when there's a very, very low outstanding amount of shares and a penny stock starts to run, has a better chance of really running, which SES did. So not quite the same characteristics here on BIMI. It is a recent IPO too, which makes it a little bit more interesting. just over that top. So yeah, I would still follow this long bias just because it doesn't yet really have any signs of wanting to slow down. It's still holding pre-market. So before being on like the bear side, you might as well be on the bull side to start. So that's probably the way I would focus on trading BIMI as long. Right now, your first initial entry point is going to be over pretty much 11 or 12. Like that's your first initial level where it would turn into a long play, which would then bring you kind of up towards the pre-market high. And then whether or not it gets rejected and back down or kind of holds and breaks out is another question. But in the short term, really your kind of entry or your level where you probably would see it pop a bit is going to be over 12 and or 1230, just because that's your pre-market resistance. And as soon as it gets over, you might have some shorts that started pre-market. They might get squeezed. So that's kind of where we're looking at in the shorter time frame to see if the bulls have some momentum on the stock today. Thoughts on TradeNet? Well, I guess it really depends on, what you're really, looking for. I mean, it can work great for getting around PDT. You could start learning, trading. A lot of times you can short. Usually you can short even some of the big penny stock runners. Sometimes you can't trade the penny stocks long bias because there's not enough volume requirement based on their criteria. Honestly, you'd probably be better off just messaging me on that. APHA is... Yeah, APHA did kind of have a nice move up. We can take a look at that. I've seen that today. Now, honestly, I'm not crazy about being long on it. I will say that over 550, that's pretty much the long. That would be a nice long, but you can already see it's pulling back from there. I wouldn't anticipate it breaking 545 again today. Like the pre-market high, I just don't see it really getting over 550. But if you're looking at this chart, that would be the most recent level people were getting short into or kind of selling down. So this would probably be the area where you would see a nice pop over 550. So if it can get back up towards 550 within the next couple days, you could probably see a move off of it. A bounce level would be down here at probably 480. You can see this is kind of a previous little spot where we've seen resistance. So that's now support. So as APHA comes down in towards 480, this is probably where you would see a nice little bounce intraday. I never trade tops. I really would not recommend trading tops. How do you trade stocks after hours? You just put in orders after hours. That's pretty much all it comes down to. Trading after hours is the same thing trading intraday. There's just going to be less volume, less liquidity. You can't do market orders. So yeah, sometimes brokers don't allow for trading after hours. So you got to make sure that the broker you have does allow you to be able to trade or make trades after hours or pre-market. I never use a trailing stop. How do you? Yeah, I never use trailing stops. I would not be your best person to ask on that topic. But I can already have an idea though. Yeah, if you're gonna do something like a trailing stop and you're looking at, it depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're trying to hold the stock for the day without getting stopped out, then you could put a trailing stop that's 75% of the average true. That's what I mean is if the stock has already moved 50% of its average true range, then you could put a trailing stop at like 50% of its average true range below where the stock price is currently at or where your entry was, and the likelihood that it even gets there is probably not going to happen. So, for example, if you were trading AMD and AMD's average true range is $1 on the day and it's already moved 70 cents up, the likelihood that it moves $1 down or 70 cents, 80 cents down isn't going to be very likely. So you just have to look at how much it's already moved and what's the likelihood that it's probably going to move another however much $1, $2 below this price. Probably not going to happen, at least in that day. Over the course of 2 days, it could, but not in the same day. So you look at your average true range and get an understanding of what the likelihood of your stock moving that much is. And if it's not likely, then that's where you want to put it. Right? You don't want to have a trailing stop of like 5 cents. You're going to get knocked out all the time. Yeah, BYND did break through that support. I did notice that. I was kind of debating getting short on it yesterday. Never pulled the trigger. But yeah, I would watch BYND short bias today. It's starting to go into its gap fill. Almost. It's got to get below kind of 120, 120, and then I would probably target 100. So yeah, you could probably watch that for some puts today or something. It'd probably be a good decision. Patrick, I would probably be more short bias on AMD than I would be long bias right now. You are right. It's right up into some resistance. You're pretty much going to have all winter where penny stocks are going to be more active. So, of course, you never rush getting into a trade. That's just not the main goal of it. But I wouldn't feel pressured to, no, because the stock market will be here next year and they'll run again next year. So no, I wouldn't be like super pressured to try and, just hammer in trades. Occasionally there will be positive biotech news in which we would make a trade on a stock that might have news like that. Yes. But we don't just go out of our way, or I don't go out of my way to specifically look for biotech stocks with positive news. Primarily the pretty much the main thing you have to do is just find a stock that's moving. Like, for example, if you're going to wake up today and you're going to want to trade, you're going to want to try and trade something good. So you're going to look around the market to see what's moving, because whatever is moving most likely has a reason that it's moving, right? We're not going on Google or we're not going on Facebook and looking up what's the most positive news on a stock today, because you're going to get results for a million different things in a ton of different stocks, because everybody wants to have positive news on their company, but only some positive news you should believe in. So rather than looking around the news and trying to differentiate which news you should be listening to, just listen to the market. The market will tell you what news people are listening to, because the stock will be up. And if the stock is up and it has news, people are listening to that news. So that's the one we want, right? So it all comes down to finding stocks that are moving, seeing why they're moving, and if it's based on strong news or whether it's a technical breakout setup. That's what our job is to figure out, right? It's not about jumping around looking at news. It's about finding stocks that are moving, which are most likely moving because of some type of news-related catalyst. Do I use volume profile? No, but I know what you're talking about. I've had it on my charts before, but never really found a great use for it myself. Will Netflix miss earnings? I mean, possibly. That's like trying to get a crystal ball. What is a trailing stop? Trailing stop is basically, it's like you have somebody following you like a stalker. Once you get into trade, you can put in a stop loss that follows the share price by X amount of percent or monetary value. And it'll go up your stop will just go up as your stock goes up. And then as the stock comes down, your stop will stay the same. But if your stock starts to go back up, then it'll keep going back up. Billy Cat, I wouldn't know on that aspect. I did read that there was something about a coal plant or some place having to do with coal's going to be laying off like 350 workers before maybe Christmas. I think I just read that today. But wouldn't know enough on that industry to really put my 2 cents in. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, Daniel, Nightbot can get a little weird. I apologize about that. What makes a good short squeeze? Short sellers getting squeezed out. I mean, that's just it. That's all a short squeeze is short sellers getting squeezed out of their position. So what makes a good short squeeze is just the short sellers being involved in the stock. So you're not going to find a whole lot of people shorting a stock that they don't feel should be shorted. Hence, when a penny stock goes from $1 all the way to $12, there's a lot of money to make to the downside. So it's going to grab the attention of far more short sellers, which means they're probably going to short the stock. And when they get to a point where they feel they're going to get squeezed, they will get squeezed, right? So that's it, is knowing what stocks short sellers are going to be prone to trying to shorten on those given days. A couple things. Anyway, so a couple large caps. Obviously, always looking around at Netflix. This is just basically my favorite stock to trade, I believe. Netflix is kind of up today a little bit. So it's kind of coming in to fight this top around 287. So arguable we could get a breakout over 287. I don't feel we really will. I think we're going to stay more into kind of a consolidation formation for right now. But that would be kind of the main goal, is to see it up and over the 287 mark. Then NVIDIA was also a little bit interesting. It kind of came off this cup and handle formation, a little bit of a higher low, just broke over a really nice big previous resistance top. So this we might see some continuation on the day. So far pre-market, it's had a good move up, and it's just holding sideways, isn't really giving in those gains, at least not yet, right? So this is something that we might be following here for continuation, to see if it can continue kind of pushing over these previous highs, and again, continuing the momentum that it had from yesterday. You know what? I don't really, to be honest, I don't really use like news that much. I really just look at the news that comes through on the feed on Thinkorswim. It's a little bit late, but I'm not really driven off of, my concern isn't really trying to find stocks right before like the news hits, or to be the first in before the news hits to try and catch the big moves, or that's not really the way I go about trading. So I don't really use any news service, to be completely honest. I just kind of pick up on the news that comes to the Thinkorswim feed, which is pretty quick anyways. But there is a good news site that one of our team admins, Brandon, uses. I can't remember the name of what he uses, honestly. But if you want, there is a link in the description of the video that'll take you to our chat room, our free kind of side of everything. And then from there, once you join, you could send him a message. His name's Brandon Walsh. He's our team admin, one of our team admins on our chat room. So you could message him to see what news service he uses. He'd be more than happy to shoot you over some information. Yeah, exactly like B Custom said there. When it comes to news, it's going to be very hard to beat news. It's just not something you'll typically beat. I use Trade Ideas for a pre-market scanner. Again, there's a link in the description for Trade Ideas too. You can check out their site. It is a paid subscription, but to me, I like it. I pretty much use it I do use it every single day. Thinkorswim is decent. You're never going to get like the best scanning capabilities with Thinkorswim. It's just their platform, the way it's designed, or however it works, just normally isn't the best for scanning. The refresh rate on Thinkorswim isn't that great. I would look into Trade Ideas or even equity feeds for scanning. Do I have any opinions on lithium stocks? No, not really. Kelly, you're saying BYND is oversold, which it very well could be, but do not base your oversold theory on RSI. Only do it on price action. Right? And if you do it on price action, you will get faked out less, because RSI does not really help you dictate a bounce. I can just tell you that momentum is sold to the downside, but doesn't dictate or really confirm that a bounce is going to happen. Bounces come from price action support levels. But BYND is probably a bit oversold in terms of RSI right now, but very well the momentum can keep going down even with RSI being oversold. Nope. The spreads from Lightspeed shouldn't be any different than E-Trade, or they might the timing, you might see it change or shift a bit, but spreads are all pretty much going to be the same, because spreads are not controlled by brokers. Spreads are controlled by the market makers. So the brokers just get the spreads that the market makers are presenting on the market. Yeah, it's for speed. Pretty much is all it comes down to is usually speed. A lot of times that's it. Because in granted, if I use a different broker, arguably I might be able to get better entries using limit orders. But even so, I've tried a couple brokers, and even with the limit orders, they never really seem to go through the way that I like them to. And again, everybody bashes on market orders, but nobody understands market orders. So we've been over it about a bajillion times, but yeah, I mean, if you learn to get comfortable using market orders, it's just fine. You do help the market in some ways. You do take away from the market in some ways. Sometimes the market makers aren't going to like it. Sometimes they are going to like it. But yeah, market orders are just fine. Everybody really stresses using limit orders because like it's the price you want to get. It's the price you want to get. It's like really, when it comes to me trading, it's not about exactly the price I want to get. It's about catching the right move that I want to catch. And a lot of times I won't get that move by trying to do a limit order. So. The only slippage you're going to get with market orders is typically going to be in between the bid-ask spread. So if the spread's like 3 cents, you're going to get 3 cents slippage. That's pretty much it. So, yeah. So again, that's what it comes down to is people have a big misconception of what market orders are and how market orders actually work, which makes them it's like they think it's the devil. They look at market orders and go, hex you. They think market orders are the devil, right? But they don't even know how they work. So generally, when you do a market order, whether it's a buy or a sell, you're typically going to be filled in between that bid-ask spread most of the time. Can you short SES on TradeNet? Possibly. I wouldn't know because I don't have their platform. But most likely you could start shorting SES now because the way TradeNet works is you typically can't trade penny stocks on there. I mean, some you can, but like the first day that SES started running, you probably weren't going to be able to trade SES because it didn't meet the volume requirements for TradeNet's platform. And their platform, like I think it's whatever stock you're trading or trying to trade on, their platform needs to have a minimum of like 500 or 700,000 shares of volume over the past like 30 days or 20 days or something, or like 90 days. And if it doesn't meet that requirement, then you're not going to be able to trade it. So like SES, though it didn't probably meet it the first day, after the second day of trading, all that volume that kicked in over this course of those 2 days would have brought the average of like the 90 days of volume up to the minimum requirements. So like the third or fourth day, SES, you'd probably be able to trade it. Yeah, that's another thing. When it comes to options, though, if I ever trade options, I always try to do a limit order as best as possible. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Anyways, with that being said, guys, appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Apologize for not being on yesterday, but kind of is what it is. Other than that, everybody take care. Have a great day. And if you haven't already done so already, feel free. Check out the description below. From there, you're going to find a Facebook group. You'll find a free chat room if you guys want to get a little bit more involved with what we all do here. So everybody take care. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the morning.